Yeah, so my district is it's a very, very diverse district, and I'm very partial to it. I have a lot of love for this location. My grandparents came here with my father and my aunts and my uncles. They came here in 1973 after the coup that happened in Chile. My grandfather was a socialist elected city council person in a little town called Puerto Montt, Chile. And they came here after that, and that's how they arrived here.
That's really cool. So you're Chilean.
That's right. That's right. I'm also half Mexican. My mom will always go off on me because I talk often about the Chilean side of me because they're the ones that live here in Seattle, but I don't often give enough credit to being Mexican as well. So, and of course, it is Mexican Independence Day. So I will say that.
I was going to say, I thought, well, on the calendar, it calls it Hispanic Heritage Month, which I just find extremely like parochial and
Right.
not proper. But yeah, I don't understand what that means exactly, but I do know this. For me, it's often about food. And so and I also lived in San Antonio for 6 years and my son was born there. And so I very much am partial to Mexican Spanish and just Mexican food, but I could probably easily be swayed to Chilean food. I don't think it would be difficult.
Honestly, I'll be real with you. Mexican food is better than Chilean.
Is it? Okay. Okay. I'm not going to say, I don't know, but what, when you're talking about your refugees in the state, and that's nice that they're taking them. Actually, one of the stories I'm talking about tonight are states that are taking in more refugees than others. Mm-hmm. What do you see are the key issues that you're having? Because to me, I would imagine you're dealing a lot with housing issues, and the income inequality is probably outrageous if you're talking about where you're talking about. So talk a little bit about the demographic, because I imagine you're in an exponentially bad place as far as housing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We have extremely high houseless population. And of course, with the eviction moratorium, going to be ending soon here in the Seattle area, folks are going to be out on the streets very soon here. And if they're not already out on the streets, by now. And I would say that our refugee population is a very, very strong community. We have, Somali immigrants here. We have Eritrean. We have Ethiopian. We have Burmese. And my point of contact with all these communities has been as a teacher. And so for me, I've had the privilege and opportunity to work with so many different communities and so many different languages, folks who speak different languages. And I would say the thing that we are struggling with most, in addition to housing, right, is the fact that we have a immigrant detention center right here in the 9th Congressional District. Mm-hmm. And, I try my best not to speak poorly on, my opponents or the people that I'm running against, but there's so much more that could be done. There has been a lot of progress. They actually said they are going to shut down the immigrant detention center, but I'm not going to hold my breath because, they say one thing in one moment and then can do something different in the next moment. And so in our communities, we're really, really suffering from folks who are being taken from ICE. People are living in fear.
So we don't need to really get into details about who you're running against, but just talk about, are you, and Peter would know if he were here because he knows everybody everywhere, but I don't know. So are you going for an open seat, and what is it a blue district? What is the sort of political climate there?
Yeah, absolutely. So it is definitely a blue district, very, very blue district. It's always been a blue district. It's also a fairly new district. It was created within the last 2 decades. And the person who I'm running against, his name is Adam Smith. So he's a very, very powerful Democrat. He's the chair of the House Armed Services Committee. He has a lot of funding from military contractors. He's truly, truly one of the highest receivers of money from military contracting companies and things like that. And the district is changing, though. The district has been changing. Our population of people of color, we're the only district in all of Washington state that has a higher population of people of color than white folks. And I think, our district is 100% ready for real representation and not just, representation at face value.
Okay, so you're dealing with a typical corporate whore Democrat that is basically a Republican that pretends to be blue because they are in a blue district. So it's that, right? Okay. But one thing I have noticed, and this is something where you have to walk a fine line when you're in a place like Washington, where you have such huge employers that are part of the MIC, because it's like, yeah, on the one hand, trust me, I think we should take all the money from that and like give it to like, you know, everyone else. So, but the reality is that is something that plays to people in terms of labor and workers. And you have to kind of, this is, I believe, how there are some that would be more progressive people end up voting in favor of things that are military contractors. And even if they weren't taking the money, this is my question, because obviously I know you're not taking the corporate money, but you still have to appeal to what could be a considerable job loss, or the fear of job loss in that industry.
Yeah, I think it is really tough. And, you know, I often get, you know, beat down by folks for being a proud socialist. You know, the family that I come from is a socialist family. That's the full reason why we arrived here in the United States from the get-go. And so there are things that I'm learning on this campaign trail about how I go about working with folks who don't agree with me. But I also think the way that we do that, I think back to my career as a teacher, right? As a teacher, I've worked with racist teachers, I've worked with sexist teachers, I've worked with classist teachers, I've also worked with very revolutionary and amazing teachers. And you don't get things done by just, you know, staying in your bubble and having an inner circle and, you know, being friends with the folks that, you know, you have real similar ideas to, but you also have to push the folks that are racist, sexist, classist, and all the other things. And so, and that's not to say that, you know, the folks who may not be, you know, super open to the ideas that I'm bringing to the table are racist, sexist, and classist. But there are some centrist folks here, especially along the water corridors of the Lake Washington area, you know, because of course, if you live by the water, you have to have more money and some big, huge, beautiful houses here. But the thing is that I think once people get to know me and get to understand that I'm truly about the work of the people and truly about getting things done for everyone and not just for a few people, the ideas don't always have to be 100% in alignment if you understand that the candidate is doing the best that they can and will constantly be working for folks and open to talking to them.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.